live.
Folks, good morning. Welcome to another week. It is Monday. It's okay to be that way. It's 8:07 on this fine November 17th. And if you're outside, it's kind of like, between want to be snow, not to be snow. But you know what? With all that said, let's start off our little journey about what's going on in life and where we're at. So I'm going to share a screen about the Phoenix Bells Corners edition and actually about Phoenix at large. So if you want to visit us, pbex.ca, so the letter PBEX, letters pbex.ca are the things to type into your browser to find us. And member of the week, it's Penny Lee. And you click here, you get Penny Lee's card, and you click over here, you get dancing, and which is good. Brings me back to my youth, kind of. No, I wasn't dancing. You want to join us today? Come on in. Click this red button here. This is Monday morning, 8 to 9 Eastern Standard Time, Bell's Corners Group. We have a Wednesday group and we have a Thursday group. So Wednesday is East End and Thursday is the South End group. On December 2nd, we have an after hours meeting. And you know what? Click that. Come on in. You'll get to meet Penny Lee, and she hosts that particular event. It's about staying on topic and on target with your goals. East Trade Wins. That's tomorrow. And come on in, free to attend, 8 to 9 Eastern Standard Time. And it's connecting with businesses across Canada and overseas. Facebook Live Meditation with Tony on Fridays. Sunbathing event November 26th. And Tony will just get you into a nice little sound bath a moment here and just get you all feng shui. Penny Lee's also got her dance is movement and it's medicine with Nia classes. I said that really wrong, but you know what? Click it, find out more. Correct me. Friends Friday potluck. That is December 12th, 6:30 p.m. Not an online event. It's an in-person event. Bring food. South End is meeting on the 27th in person at 7:30. It's both online and in person at River Lounge. QR directory for all members. So if you hear somebody talking today and you're going, I need to know how to dodge that ball or how to work with CRA. And, that's kind of a lead into who our speaker is today, but, we'll leave that alone. Anyhow, click there. You'll find the QR links, which brings me to the QR over my shoulder. And what that is all about is being able to connect with a person quickly. So each of us as a Phoenix member gets a e-card, and we are able to cross connect and just make it easier for our clients to reach us. So whether it's by the website, by the phone number, by the email, whatever the case might be. All right. So yes, Tony, you can do the education. We're almost there. Home stretch. Good point. What's been going on? The e-card. So we have 3,900 hits collectively on all our cards year to date. We've done over $4.9 million worth of business. Actually, almost $4.97 million worth of business since 2016, January. And year to date, it's 177,000. Almost rounding up 178,000 year to date. And what else? You want to apply? Click here. This little red button will take you down that rabbit hole. It's a good rabbit hole to go down. And we're supporting the Canada Food Cupboard. And just a quick reminder, in your area, if there are food cupboards, there will be. Donate to them. Give them something. It'll help your community at large. And Tony, over to you, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Bernie. I'm just looking at the figures there. We're only like 35,000 away from 5 million. We can't wait until Kelly sells a house. So, all right. So,
you and me both.
Oh, I tell you, I can't wait.
Ready for another
right
one?
over that 5 million. Yes.
Bring my first Phoenix one.
I was looking at some figures the other day, and we're only posting the actual referrals that we give each other and the sales and so on. And it just to go through them, we have very close to 200 and what was the figure again? It was like it was 289 referrals. And 328 BAMs so far this year. And this is very consistent. We've seen this over the years that the figures go up and down, but the BAMs and the referrals, even though they're very different, it's when we do a BAM, we don't actually go with the intention that we're going to make a sale. It's mostly we have something new. We want to just to show that we have various services still going, so keep us in mind, that kind of thing. But out of that, when we are with that person, all of a sudden, wait a second, I think I do know somebody that could probably do this. And the reason that is because I know from previous experience, when we focus on something for 68 seconds, the brain goes through another level in their thinking, and more things that of what you're talking about start coming in. Like when you say, do you know anybody that could use some, cosmetics, or do you know anybody that could use a new set of tires? Right away, I don't know anybody. But then we start thinking about it and talking about it with the person. All of a sudden, hey, wait a second. I saw our neighbor leave, and he says he hasn't changed his tires yet. He hadn't had time because he does it himself. And I'm thinking, well, you could do it yourself, or for safety, just get someone else to do it. And I know a person that can do that. And that happens when we do a BAM. And that's where those referrals are coming from. The vast majority of the referrals that people are saying that they're getting is through BAMs. Like you would meet somebody, and within a week, they would get that. So this is the thing, is if you're looking at getting more business and more connections, just set up a BAM with somebody. And it's just simply you do it over Zoom. Like with Kelly, we have to do it over Zoom because she's out of town. But as she's talking about some of the things that she's doing, she might mention something, and he says, "Wait a second, I think I do know somebody in Toronto that is about to list, or is listing, or is not happy with the current realtor, or whatever the case is." And it's only when we are meeting those people that you in that time where you're meeting, that's when it occurs to you. But it's all about being specific as well. Penny Lee says this all the time. When we are, I remember a number of years ago, we had somebody that was selling makeup and cosmetics and that kind of thing. And one of her infomercials, of all things, says, "The people I'm looking for needs to have a face." It's like it's so vast. Yeah, okay, I get it, but as soon as she said, somebody, when we bring it down, somebody that's in the theater business, someone that is either acting or in drama, that kind of thing, I said, oh, actually, I do know one person. Hey, and they could probably use the cosmetics that you're looking at. And right away, when you start focusing in at one particular thing right there, all of a sudden other things start coming in. So when you're looking at just getting things done, even if you're really busy, like Eric, like he is super busy, but he still, this is the genius in his marketing, he still finds time to meet with at least one person a week. Just in phone calls, or just something that he touches base or whatever, and that's really smart, because even a busy person knows that was going to constantly keep flowing as long as there's connection, as long as there's the dialogue, the interaction, and that's the case. And he's got over 1,000 clients, and this is the thing. So if we can just meet with one of our Phoenix members just for a short while, and just find out what they're doing. Jacqueline, she's always doing events and things for charities, and Kat's doing the same thing. She has a number of charities and things going on. And just by talking to them, and all of a sudden things start wheeling in your mind. And that's the thing so when the referrals go up, the BAMs go up too, and it works in reverse. When those BAMs are more, then the referrals are more. I remember when we were at close to 100 members many years ago, before COVID, and at one point we hit about 600 or 650 referrals that time, about this time of year and we had close to 650 referrals. And now we're doing 289 and about 300 or so referrals. So they are coinciding. Regardless what the numbers are, the more BAMs that we do, the more referrals come out of it. All right, so bear that in mind, is that our Phoenix members, they have a wealth of information. We know people, and sometimes we might have just met somebody that's looking for accounting services. And it would never dawn on me. Well, it would dawn on me because I'm always looking for giving referrals to everyone. But sometimes it may not dawn on you. Somebody will talk about their books. They're having their dining room table full of taxes and they haven't gotten to it yet. And it wouldn't dawn on you right away. You say, wait a second, I know a person that can maybe want to go through that. First of all, we got to see if he can or if he wants to go through that kind. But that's the thing, is to meet with people, do the BAMs, and then your referrals will go up. Okay, back to you, Bernie.
Tony, thank you so much. And to help the BAMs and the promotions go on, here is our LinkedIn Live post. Please post some content about yourself, things going on in your space. And we're going to do the magic finger of going around saying, hey, what's happening in your space? I'm going to start off with Kat because she's looking straight at the screen. And then I'm going to bounce over to, I'm going to bounce over to Kelly because Kelly's in transit. And so Kat, over to you, ma'am.
Okay, I will remember for future not to look straight at the screen. You don't go first. Sorry, good morning, everybody. So today I'm just going to follow kind of Tony's logic of asking directly for something. So I want to know, who do you know, it may be you, it may be somebody else, who uses Google to operate their business? I don't mean they have a Gmail account. It could be they're using a Google business profile. It could be they're using the one that everybody forgets about, YouTube. So Google have just implemented a ton, and I mean a ton of changes on how you can operate many things, including the posting of videos on YouTube and how you put things on your Google business profile. So if you or somebody you know is in the Google space, I'd love to have a chat with them so that we can get them up to speed on Google. And I don't think I've had any BAM since we last met.
Kat, thank you so much. Next quick promo. Carl Richards has a podcast mastermind happening on November 19th this week between 11 and 1. Kelly, over to you if you're available, and then we will swing over to Shane.
Kelly in transit.
No, I'm available. I just had mittens on. I have to take them off
okay.
to unmute myself. So good morning. Yes, thank you so much. I'm Kelly Harrigan. Thank you so much for taking a second to ask me while I'm in transit, quite literally. I'm in Toronto today. You can see the TTC logo. I'm at DuPont Station. I'm about to have a meeting with a potential buyer. So I'm your local real estate agent. I operate in the Ottawa and Toronto areas. And I love my buyers. I love my buyers. I also love my sellers. So I want to speak with you, being very specific. I would love to be able to assist you in your process, particularly if you're feeling uncertain about what to do. This includes, do I move at all? Do I even sell my place? I want to be your trusted advisor, and I want to be able to help you and your family make an executive level decision based on facts, information, as well as checking in with what you actually need, what's your greater good as a family. So, and the family, you can be a family of one. What's in your best interest and your greatest good? Let me help you through that process. Sometimes it takes an independent third party to really truly analyze all of the facets. A lot is involved in selling your house. There's a lot involved from strategy, pricing, timing, execution. How are we going to do this and how's it going to impact you? All of these factors are incredibly important to me because I know how important they are to you. So please give me a call anytime. Text me, call me, WhatsApp. The quickest response will be from my Toronto number, 416-274-2532. I'm currently just working on invigorating my socials. I had a bit of a glitch. So Kat and I are working together. So I'll be able to give you my social media links later. But in the meantime, a conversation is free and it takes no time at all to reach out to me, give me a quick call, and let's talk about your situation so we can figure out what's the best approach for you. That's it in a nutshell.
Kelly, thank you so much. We're also looking for a personal agency recruiter. So if you know someone that fits that bill, have them reach out to Penny Lee. Mr. Shane and the jogging in the cold weather. How are you doing, lad? And what's up? You're on mute.
Not too bad. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can. You're
Yep.
good.
Perfect. Kelly, I love the outside, buddy. Way to go. Way to get your mittens on there. Can't wait to see everybody a little outside in the morning. So, all good.
Shane, you were my inspo for that. So thank you, Shane. You inspired me.
All right. You're right. Thank you. As Tony knows, I need 68 seconds to get in your head. So I'm taking 68 seconds. Anyways, all good. If you guys watched the Grey Cup yesterday, that guy who fumbled on the 1 yard line, he's probably thinking about that a lot. But the thing that relates to me is my concussion patients. So I have a lot of junior A players, and the hardest job that I get is basically when I have to tell them, you can't play because of concussion. And a lot of times they start feeling really good. They're high energy kids. You know, they're go, go, go. They have a good head on their shoulders, but they also have symptoms that go away pretty quickly just because of their energy levels and their focus and everything else. Now, the kids sometimes come in like 2 weeks, like, oh, I'm good, I'm ready to go. I'm like, okay, well, here's what I'm going to show you. So we have VOG goggles, which are basically how it looks at eyes when they're in darkness and their vestibular systems. We also have a pupillometry, which basically looks at your light when light is shined into it. How does it react? Does it shrink? Does it bounce? How long does it take to react? Diameter, stuff we can't see with just the naked eye. And then we have our treadmill test and things that, you know, can give us a little bit hints that maybe their neurological system isn't totally recovered yet. And they get really mad at me. And even one of them was my neighbor. So I have to tell him overall, but I'm like, this is what you need to do to get better. Now, why I talk about the Grey Cup game is because what I'm really worried about is the safety of our athletes. They're not reacting usually as fast as they normally would on the ice, which means if someone comes at you from the side or, you know, that you're not prepared for, you don't react quick enough, which puts you vulnerable, right? So when you get hit, you might fall a different way, hit your head again or whatever. And we want to make sure that's not happening because you have to be safe on these contact sports out there. And that's what the biggest issue is for that. So if you know anybody that's in that elite sports that's looking to always, you know, improve either performance or recovering from a concussion, send them our way. We really take care of our athletes because most of them are not making it to the NHL, the NFL, the, you know, Major League Baseball. So let's take care of our brains now so you have them when you're older. So we see results. We don't let kids get back into play before that. Give us a call. I'm Shane Bayless, Proaction Health and Performance. Hope we see you soon for your health benefits and performance benefits. Take care. Bye.
Shane, thank you so much. And next quick promo I'm piping out is, listen, Kat Hurt is a great resource and she'll propagate your information on the social media channels of Phoenix. So that whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all that space, share your details with Kat. I didn't say who was going next, did I? Well, Jacqueline, you're looking pensive. You're it. Tag. And then we'll go to Sam. Go ahead, Jacqueline. Sorry. You're not pensive.
No.
You'd have that contemplative look, though.
No apologies required. I did take a beautiful long deep breath this morning. I lifted my shoulders, I took them back, and I released them down. And I was at a birthday party yesterday. It was a quick birthday party at a restaurant I've never been to. It took me a while to get there because I actually walked. It was a beautiful evening, and I was amazed at how busy this place that you couldn't really see or find. It wasn't straight up that you could walk and see. Of course, I see a big sign. It wasn't. It was this great spot, kind of in the basement that you had to walk down and into. And sometimes I think about my clients that way. And Kat, you really just said it. If people don't know where you are and what you do, how can you do business with them? And that's what we do all day long. Are we in a place where people can hear and see us? I found that restaurant because it was on an invitation. It took me a while to find the number. I walked in and two people behind me said, "Did it take you a long time to get here?" Yes, it did. And the owners know. and the owners know they serve great food. And so people will find them if they're referred to it. People will find them. And I know when I'm looking for my clients, I need to be there and open and ready to take my hands out and say, I'm here and ready to go. When you're looking for strategies, wait for your mortgage money and yoga and your mortgage money, you want to contact your mortgage honey.
Any BAMs or referrals?
I have BAM with Carrie Lynn next week, and I am busy putting my act together for Kat. And Kelly and I have a BAM coming up in the future.
Awesome. Thank you. And next quick promo, it's from Canada Growth Network, and it's basically having a CRM website, $39 monthly, $1 first month, and no long-term contract. Reach out to Percy Blair, myself, or Kat. Kat is, and by the way, Kat is a great referrer in that space. So thank you, Kat. And Mr. Sam, what's happening?
Thank you, Bernie. Good morning, everyone. Sam Sturs, connectedcars.ca. My contact information is in the chat now. Well, Connected Cars does, well, lots of things when it comes to automobiles. First of all, dash cameras. I actually met up with a guy. I was going by getting some ice for the Grey Cup party I had yesterday. And at the gas station where I was at, I met a guy that his son played hockey with our son. And he's looking for a dash camera for his car. So I told him what I know about dash cameras, and we exchanged information, contact information, and I'm discussing what one to put in his vehicle. Besides that, just do oil changes, brake jobs, things like that, and lots of tire changes these days. One thing I do with our cars that I don't provide service for, because it's an awfully messy job, is a rust inhibitor. I highly recommend it to anyone who wants to keep their car for a long time, like I like to do. Especially in our environment when it comes to salt on the roads. That stuff will eat away at your car and reduce its time on the road. I guarantee it. For people that don't realize, it's not just a rust inhibitor, it also helps with things like suspension. There's lots of rubber suspension parts in your car, and that, well, it could be oil-based, it could be cosmoline-based rust inhibitor. It helps with suspension, rubber suspension equipment. And if you have a bigger SUV, like I know that Bernie's wife has, and well, even Tony has a SUV now. Those things are bigger than the smaller sedans, and they have extra bushings in them. And those things wear out, and believe me, you're going to pay thousands of dollars to repair them when they go. I highly recommend you get the rust inhibitor on them because it'll make them last a lot longer and save you some money. That's it for me. BAMS wise, let's see. Steve Breckenmeyer is going to be here at 10 o'clock this morning, doing oil change and winter tire installation for him. Dave Belliveau, former Phoenix member, he's going to be here tomorrow. And well, when Bernie gets his car back out of the dealership, I guess I'll see him. That's it for me, Sam Sturs, connectedcars.ca. Today's mobile electronics without the cost of a vehicle, and a heck of a lot more. Go
Sam,
Riders.
thank you. Sam, thank you so much, and thank goodness for extended warranties because it has saved my bacon. On both vehicles, and one's a turbo. That's the wife's car, and yeah. So if you need someone to do a stand-in work for you, reach out to Mike. He can stand in if you can't make a Phoenix session. And that's his contact details, schedule lines. You're off to the races. Mr. Tony, Bright Eyes, Jennis.
Right. I've been trying to get my my whole tail bushed this morning. Hi, everybody. Tony Jennis from Higher Self. I'm the spirit guy of the group, medium and clairvoyant. I work with energy, with people and buildings, with whether it's feng shui or whether we are looking at balancing people's energy. I got one of my more difficult cases a few days ago. This person was basically bedridden for 4 years. didn't get out of bed, didn't want to do anything. His energy is so low that he barely has an aura. And what that means in real form is that there's no exuding energy. He thinks this person's life is hopeless, that there's no hope left for him, and he's just basically given up. And somebody convinced him to come in for a tuning. I had to help him down the stairs because he had a hard time walking, but we made it. And I must have spent about 2 hours on this person, really taken, and didn't do a lot of talking. It was just solid energy. And today, it was about 2 or 3 days now. Today he's doing a little better, and so I want him to come in again for another another couple of days to do another tuning, and just to bring him up and just to make it so that he's going to be more in that exuding energy. This way, he's not going to be in that total darkness as we sometimes will mention it. So one of the things that I gave him though was a bracelet, something like this. This particular bracelet, when you put it on, has exuding powers, and the energies of a person will absorb whatever the metaphysical values of this stone is. This one's pyrite. It basically it's sort of a masculine type energy. It's a forward motion, deciding energy that it's giving this person on a regular basis. I told him to wear it 24/7 for at least the first week, and then after that he can take it off at night. But just to give him that jump start for it. It also shields negative energy. It makes it so that he won't think that he's inadequate, or he won't think that he's hopeless, and that kind of thing. So if you know somebody like that, this particular bracelet, it would be wonderful. I have over 100 different varieties, and all the bracelets do different things, but this one was exactly what this person needed. So if you're looking for, if you know somebody who is going through a tough time, have them come in for a tuning session. They will not regret it. They may think there's no hope for them at the end, but once they visit with me, they'll see things differently. So Tony Jennis from Higher Self, we are here to raise your spirits. And a few things I did there last week. Of course, ongoing business with Eric. He's still doing our taxes for a couple of our companies. Just a note for the New Year's ball. For the Phoenix table, we have 8 around our table. We've already sold 6 of them. We got 2 left. So if you or your spouse would like to come and join us, let me know, and I can give you some details. All right. And we have ongoing business with Rahal. He's got our website going there. I had a BAM with Penny Lee, and I did a podcast with Sandy Benoit. She's our pet whisperer. She works with animals and their energy. She's a very, very talented lady. So we had that podcast will be coming out probably in another couple of weeks. Josh, ongoing business with him. Kelly had a BAM with her a few days ago, and I had a meeting with Kat, and very talented lady. So that's my week.
Thank you, Tony. So good place to go for a meeting if you want to do an in-person meeting is at Hive. Reach out to Layla. She is the primary contact. If you want to have a BAM with me, I'm more than glad to meet you there. I think you'd have a good blast and really good food or good coffee. And about myself, Creative Insight. So I'm a business concierge. I connect with people, I connect with businesses. I've got a podcast called Knack for Business, and it's doing well. We've talked to tons of people. We're over 400 podcasts out in the wild now. Gentry Learning is the Property Wizard podcast, and that's about understanding real estate and investing in that space. East Trade Winds, there's the link to the YouTube channel, and it gets you kind of in store for information. And also at the same time, I'm going to cross promote my co-host, Mr. Wayne Pratt. He's out there. He's got a book called Freshly Brewed Coaching. Some of us have already acquired it. And the last piece before I turn the mic over to Eric, because Eric is our presenter, is we're also looking for a locksmith. So if you have someone that you deal with, that would make a good contact, have them reach out to Penny Lee. Mr. Eric Sonego, The helm's yours, sir.
Good morning. Perhaps you wanted to know where I was last week. Last week was my wife's birthday, so we decided to go to Toronto, rent a hotel room, and do work. I'm from Toronto anyway, so we did downtown Toronto. We went to the Royal Winter Fair. We went to great restaurants. We spent 4 days there, which was not a smart thing to do because I am swamped here, but I have thousands of clients, like Tony says, but I only have one wife. So you have to,
That's it.
so you have to know your priorities, right?
Yes.
So that's where I was last week. I finished the year end for someone who used to be in Phoenix called Voice to Net, which provides our telephone service. I finished their year end. I am expecting to see Dwight here any day. That's what my staff says, that he's showing up any day here. And I'm working with Phoenix's year end for the last year that we had. So that's what I've been doing, and that's what I am, that's what I intend to do in the future, among other things that I do every day. Some people think that the government can give you a business number just because you are a great person, and just because you're a nonprofit, and just because you are you. And sometimes, if they give you a business number in 1985 and you don't file tax returns, and in this nonprofit you get a new accountant coming in, me, and I ask for the box to see where we are, and they didn't have a business number that they knew of. I called the government, and the government says, well, they haven't filed any tax returns since 1985. So my wife, who got me this job, this non-paying job, has been pressuring me to get a deal with the government on filing, empty taxes, like blank tax returns. But it's a big task to ask someone that you were alive in 1985, but you don't want to reappear to 2015. It's and that's what my job today will be after I do this presentation. The other thing, what I'm going to talk to you about today is the budget. And the budget that came last week was highly anticipated, but it did not leave us with warm feelings. But that could be because the government is not really trying to help the people. It's trying to help the industries that govern the people. And it thinks that there's going to be a spillover effect over the people. So I'm going to share my screen. You see that now? Everybody sees my screen?
You're in your PowerPoint's up, but it's not in full display mode. In other words, if you stop share, hit F5 on the PowerPoint, and then launch that, pick that launch, you'll get a full screen. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you have to go to presentation mode.
Okay, just a sec.
Are you using one or two screens?
One.
So what will happen is if you hit launch, the slideshow will show up. Then when you go to share,
I have to reshare my screen with you guys. Okay. Now we can.
Yeah, from the beginning. Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Perfect. You're good to go.
Okay. So this is who we are prior to the budget. There's two sections to this budget: what happened before and what happened after the tabling of the budget. What happened before, between the changing government to the budget, was what happened prior to it was there was a 1% tax reduction for working people. There was a cancellation of the carbon tax, a misguided cancellation of the carbon tax because they should have never canceled it. There was a capital gains rollover on small business investment that was tweaked. There was the ability to make the Canada carbon tax rebate tax-free for small businesses. It also allowed charitable donations that you make in 2025, you could take back to 2024, and there was an increase in the exemption, the capital gains exemption, to $1.25 million. Budget then focuses on the rest of this, which was investments in the economy that are more long term and take a few years to see the benefit. Other things that the personal tax changes that are coming from that budget is that if you are a personal support worker, what we know commonly as PSWs, working in a health care facility, you are entitled to a 5% tax credit to a maximum of $1,100 starting in 2026. The other thing that happened, not that it's going to affect anybody that I'm talking to, but the other thing that happened is if you are a poor person and you cannot afford to go to an accountant or H&R Block or places like that, the government will do your taxes and will send you the money that you're entitled to from the Ontario government or the provincial government, and GST tax credits and all of that kind of stuff. So the problem that the government is going to have is that a lot of poor people don't, that we have today in Canada, we have the really poor people are homeless and they don't have an address. And it's impossible to do a tax return for someone who doesn't have an address. But I don't want to deflate their balloon. If they think they can do it, yeah, go for it. There's also a change in the non-refundable tax credit that we all have of 15%. They brought it down to 14%, but they're going to make sure that people who are poor do not go into a higher tax bracket. So those of us who have earned income will have less non-refundable tax credit. Poor people will have more. We will have 14%. The next thing is things that is going to get rid of the shyster. And this is qualified investment for registered investment plans. RSP, RIFs, RESPs, registered home ownership plans, and registered education plans. So what happens when those things come out is that people can roll over, can use them to invest in other things other than when you go to the bank or you go to a mutual fund, or you go to a mortgage broker, you buy mortgages through a broker. So what happens is people use it to move money out of a registered fund into into their pocket or into outside of the country. And that's been happening for 20 years, more or less. So what's happened now is that they've changed they have made this. They have. How can I say this? The word qualified, to most of the public means qualified. To the government, it doesn't mean that. It means a special type of position that they take. When you say a qualified business, for instance, qualified small business is a small business that uses more than 90% of its assets in the business. That makes it a qualified small business. But the public doesn't know what qualified is. They think that it's qualified because it's a small business. No, qualified because it's in the business world and it's using its asset. The same thing here. These plans are going to be qualified by what the investment industry rules are. So if you deal with Canada Trust, and Canada Trust allows you to have a self-directed RSP, you have to go through the rules of Canada Trust in how you're going to self-direct that RSP. They are not going to allow you to be that free and fancy free. So most of you do not come across this. In accounting, we come across it all the time because there's a lot of people there who are not entirely ethical. Home accessibility tax credit is something that is geared for people over 65 who need to have their homes more accessible. Prior to 2026, these credits were part of the medical expenses and disability tax credit system. Now you don't have to be sick to have this happening in your house. You don't have to have disability tax credit to go with it. It will stand by itself, and that will help anybody over 65 who's making who's making their house more friendly to their inability to walk up the stairs or inability to have a main street door, or that kind of stuff. So that can apply to almost everybody who's over 65. The other thing that they've done is they tweaked the 20-year trust rules. If you do your parents' estate, or you're an executor, you might not know this, but if you have something with a property, let's say you have an estate that has a big building in Ottawa that's rented to 50 people. You have an apartment building, and you say, well, I'm not going to sell it. It's going to stay there for 50 years. So what happens now is at the 21st year, you have to do a deed disposition. You have to sell that building on the books, and you have to pay the capital gains. But you could get out of it by saying that it's when the asset was brought into the estate. So you could say, well, it wasn't this. My sister's was handling it in this estate here, for my parents, and I moved it for my in-laws here, in this estate here. So that could happen before, and you could bypass the 21st year rule. That is being closed, and now it doesn't matter when you transfer the asset into the estate. It's from the year you open the estate. So 21 years from the day you open the estate. And that will get a lot of my clients probably upset, but I haven't told them yet. A lot of the budget dealt with, expensing manufacturers who are doing saving of the environment type of stuff, who are investing in having cleaner energy. And that now is almost, if you build a plant that is used for manufacturing and processing, and you do it using the qualified, method of environmental control, you will get 100% deduction for that business, for that plant building, and that could be substantial. So if General Motors builds a plant in Canada, and the plant they built is different from the other plant they have, and the plant they build now is totally has a much lesser carbon print than the one that they used to have, they almost get the entire plant written off. They can write off almost the entire plant. And that is going to help lots of people who are hesitating to go into the greener economy. Also, if you have LNG equipment, that you can also write that off, in one shot. Now, when I say write it off in one shot, if there's a difference between what we do in accounting and what we do for tax. So when we do for tax, it's called capital cost allowance. And we might write off a building entirely in 1 year because it's a brand new building, and it has no carbon footprint. But we're not going to do that in the books. In the books, it's still a building. It's still going to be depreciated by 6% a year. And there's going to be a difference between what we do in the books and what we do for tax purposes. So in the books, the depreciation will be normal, 6% per year, but for tax purposes, it will be 100%. So this book will disappear from your Schedule 8 capital cost. It will disappear entirely at the end of the year, but in your general ledger, it will stay there for 25 years. So that's what they mean by quick write-off. They're also changing how you calculate the scientific research and experimental tax credits, and this applies to maybe 30% of my client base. And they're not big, they're not giant people, but they're high-tech companies that do investments that do processes that are different than they were last year. And what they do now is they have to go through hoops and bounds and curtains and you name it to be able to convince the government that is really scientific research that they're doing. That is being somewhat softened so that more people can do scientific research credit of the people that do scientific and research tax credit. And the next thing, agricultural co-ops, most farmers that have this. Most dairy farmers have this. And what the government has done right now, the co-op sends you a dividend statement. And the government is going to change that from dividends to capital gains, which are taxed at a lower rate. And that will help, I think all my farming clients get this from Gailey and from places like that. So that it will affect everybody. There is a clean energy investment tax credit for people who are doing exploration. The clean technology manufacturing tax credit, which is for people who are buying, like if you buy a photocopy machine or a printer, and the printer is, the people selling you the printer tell you that it now fits a cleaner office, that is a cleaner process printer, you can write off that, you can get a tax credit for buying that printer. You don't have to be, a big company to do that. And finally, the carbon capture investment tax credit has been allowed to include carbon, let me see, carbon capture, and utilization tax credit. And what that is if you can show that you're capturing carbon, you can capture carbon, you can transport carbon, and you can store carbon. If you're in that world of sequestration of carbon, you can get a tax credit that could be substantial. That doesn't apply to any of my clients, and I don't think it applies to anybody that I know. But there must be places in Canada that are big enough to be able to get carbon out of the system, transport it, and get rid of it, or store it for a long time. And that is what this is about. So the Clean Electricity Investment Tax Credit is, I would think, I could make a case for those of you who are moving from, regular heating to air pump heating. If you do that, there will be a tax credit that you can use up to 15% of the 15% tax credit. But there's government forms for that, and it's not easy to get. But we in my household we used it, and when we moved from a regular gas to air pump, we used it, and we got something like $15,000. The last slide is that I have is using if you have two corporations that are related and they pay intercorporate dividends, they now have to be talking about the same period of time to have that. So they have to either have the same year end, or they have to show that they pay that the dividend that they paid, in one was received the same date in the other, so that you cannot move funds from one company to the other. That's changing of a loophole that was there, but it's not going to affect that many people. If you have an accountant, we know how to circumvent that position. Any questions?
Stop the share there, Eric. Perfect. Actually, yeah. So you mentioned a couple of different things, and the terms you're using, like the energy piece. There's certain definitions, like are you in a gray area? It's hit and miss versus a complete no versus a complete yes, or even carbon capture, right, and storage. There's a couple companies I know that they have a whole process that's all kind of wrapped around that, and it's just by you're planting certain crops. Aside from holding a BAM with you, a business activity meeting, how do you sort out that's a good idea, maybe I should give it a shot, or no, good thought, but that's a unicorn, that's not your unicorn?
Well, like anything that the government does, the devil is in the detail. and I haven't seen all of the details, but I can assure you that it's not going to be, here I am doing this carbon sequestration, give me 15% of my investment. I can assure you that there's going to be, a form for it. I can assure you that there's going to be, a tax issue attached to it. But if you fit the mold of what they want to see, you will get a 15% tax credit.
Wow. So is it some of the elements you talk about, you have to be a business to realize them? Is
Almost
this
all of them.
all of them? None of them are for residential, normal human beings, going day to day,
There,
swinging from trees?
there is some. In the beginning of the presentation, there was some for people, but let's what the government is looking at is, rather than giving the public the investment tax credit, they want to give it to the wholesaler or to the manufacturer, because it will have more of a bang for their money at that level, right? So we have in the Wednesday group, we have someone that deals with HVAC and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Well, that person before would come to your place and would give you the paperwork so you could get the tax credit for your air pump or for a new environment that you were doing. What the government is moving is to move it from you to that person, to the manufacturer of that equipment, so that it fits more of us.
If because we're talking about Matt Ledard and Arizona
Yes.
HVAC, if they do commercial operations that benefit a business, it just makes it more eco-friendly, whether it's carbon capture or just energy efficiency, then would their supplier get the credit? Would they get the credit?
If you own the building, and you buy the building and you do the work on the building, no, you will get it. Okay. But if you are, a retail store, let's say, and Matt comes over and changes your system, I doubt it if you're going to get anything for that. The person putting the system in might get for selling, clean green systems.
Okay. So should I just post your number on all the electrical contractors like bathroom walls, and just call Eric for good information?
Maybe. In the next week, I will read the fine details of it, of what the budget does. Sam, you have a question?
Okay.
I do, but I'm going to save it for the Wednesday meeting because it's 9:04.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks,
see you
Eric.
Wednesday. All right.
And the closing quote is, "Patience is not the ability to wait, but